Welcome to Fixing the Game, where we think your RPG is broken, but we don't exactly agree on how it's broken. So, like two honey badgers entering the same arena, going for that same snake, we're going to go at it from either side until one of us faints from venom. This is going way off course. I'm so sorry about that, but I'm going to power through it anyways. Marx here is going to take an extreme position on something, and I'm going to take the opposite because that's what I believe wholeheartedly, totally. Whoever you think the winner is, or whatever you think, put in the comments afterwards, and there might even be a poll on the channel later that you can go and see what other people think too. So, for now, Marx. Am I pointing towards you? I can never tell on this thing.
I don't know.
I don't know. What do you think today?
Well, I'm going to talk about rules Lite. All right. I'm all about the rules Lite. And if you watch genre play, you probably would be surprised. So, because you know what? You know what rules heavy systems are like? Do you know what they're like, Greg?
They're like butter.
They're like assembling IKEA furniture without instructions, because the instructions are another piece of furniture that you also have to assemble, and it's probably in Japanese or something else. Maybe Latin. I don't know. Well, rules Lite games are like grabbing some Lego bricks and saying, let's build whatever we want. Pretend it's a spaceship, you know? So I know some of you out there maybe like juggling modifiers and charting out feat trees or skill trees or whatever trees, and maybe arguing about flanking rules. But let's be real. Well, some of us are here to play role-play games, not amateur accountant. So, so it's Streamline's about, Rules Lite. It's about streamlining the experience and focus on the story and the characters and the drama instead of consulting the rule book constantly. What do you think? What do you think, Greg? I've talked enough.
First of all, I have extreme views on flanking. But beyond that...
That's another video. To flank or not to flank.
We know that D&D itself came from war games originally, because ultimately, with all of these games, strategy matters. We don't want to go into like some battle and be like, well, abstractly, I just jump on him and start clawing him. No. We want to be able to go up to him and be like, well, I want to get on the right side of him because my friend's on the left side, speaking of flanking. I want to get this guy over behind, shooting from afar, and I'm going to line it up so he can't get past me because I can attack of opportunity if he goes for my guy back there. We like the strategy. It's why you play these role-playing games. If you want to just have your character be anything you want, do anything you want, have any role you want, basically, just go to an improv class. You'll do a lot better there.
There's some rules. Just not a whole lot of rules. So you don't need a PhD to play the game. I'm just saying. It's okay. While it may give you precision and complexity, I think rules like gives you freedom and flow for good flow for pacing and storytelling and stuff too. And you literally, in many rules like games, you can get together, go, this is what we're playing, it sound cool, make your characters and get right into that game. You cannot do that in most other games. 5e, if you're going to play like for a lot of hours maybe, but it's going to take a solid hour, 2 hours to make a character, and even the more simpler rules heavy games.
Well, speaking of character customization, in rules-heavy games, you can really customize your character. I mean, if you look at Pathfinder 1e, you have so many options. There's literally every option you could ever want possible ever in reality. Even if aliens were playing it, they'd have every option they want. I don't know how they did that, but there is things galore. Whereas rules Lite, you're kind of like, you all kind of feel kind of the sameness. And when I look at my character sheet on rules Lite, you know, what's the first thing I say? I say, where's my skills? I just want some skills. I want these numbers to go up, and I want them to be skills. And it's just like, well, you've never actually performed surgery, but roll a dex. Yeah. I'm like, no, I want the skill surgery to be able to do it.
I mean, if you spend a night at Motel 8, right? Is that the commercial? Netflix or whatever it is. Yeah, but you know what's magical? It's truly magical. What's magical is telling stories with your friends. Not not looking at a chart, 47 different tables about what your critical role did.
Yeah.
It allows you freedom of play and story, and it's advantageous depending upon certain scenarios. So anyway, unless you got more, you got something else you want to counter argument?
No, I went flanking.
Let's get slightly more serious now and give her a little more views and maybe slightly more constructive. Who knows? But
so actually, most of my arguments were actually my arguments in this case. I am more of a rules heavy person, though I do think Pathfinder takes it too far for me. But the one thing I really like games to have is skills. Ultimately, I do like skills. That's why when we play Call of Cthulhu, I actually even like Call of Cthulhu, because you might think it's kind of rules light-ish, but it has so many skills. It probably has too many skills, to be honest. But nonetheless, I like that it had skills that you can improve. I even like the way that they improve skills and stuff. So that's kind of my gauge. If a system has skills, it's probably okay for me. But that being said, I do like Daggerheart, which doesn't have skills, but they have experiences, but they're not that useful, to be honest. You have to spend a hope to even use them. So, yeah, I don't know. I definitely, it's hard for me to articulate why, per se, but I like rules heavy games. I generally have more fun with rules heavy games than I do with rules light games. And maybe I'm not a really strategic person, but maybe I still find enjoyment from it regardless. I don't know. Because when we played rules light, there was really no strategy, really.
Not always. It could be.
You could, but we were so focused on just being silly characters, right? That's kind of like, or not even silly, just like accurate characters, maybe, or something like that. The emphasis is definitely different.
Yeah, it's, yeah. I like Fate. I like Powered by the Apocalypse a lot. I feel like those games are really easy for people to go into and play. I think they're great games for people, especially people who are just starting out. They're probably not going to be as intimidated at first, and then they can always go to D&D or whatever from there.
It's so much easier to make a character in Powered by Apocalypse.
Yes, it's a lot easier.
You have to barely know anything about the game to make a character in that game, because it's all just right there in the playbook. It's very simple.
Oh, the playbook structure is amazing. So that's why I like a lot of those quite a bit. I get, when you're in tactical and stuff, it could be it's loosey-goosey sometimes. I'm seeing some rules like games getting a little more tactical. They're trying to find that balance, I think.
Daggerheart's definitely trying to do that.
Yeah, Daggerheart's trying.
Rules light, but then not at all. At some place, it's weird. It's a weird one.
Yeah, and I feel like D100 or BRP or Mithras is not rules light, but it leans a little bit more that way, just because so much of it, like the skill systems, is so consistent. It's not like a lot of exceptions to the rules and stuff.
Yeah. I like the skills in those games, actually.
Yeah, I like how it works. It makes sense. It's logical. And so
what I like most about a system, like, I actually think rules light and rules heavy is not. You can definitely category games that way, but what's more important to me is rule consistency, and that's what makes Call of Cthulhu so good for rules. Is because if you know how a single skill works, you basically know how every single thing in that game works, because there's not much else beyond that. Even using your weapons, it's just a skill. They have a couple of options here or there, right? But it's very minor, and that to me is the most important thing, is to have intuitive things, to where if you know how one thing works, you can kind of extrapolate it to the rest. I think even DC-20 falls into that slightly, because everything's going to have the succeed by 5 rule. Everything's just going to be a DC that you're rolling against, and every 5 over you do better, every 5 worse, every 5 under you do worse. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like that part of it. Now it's very not rules light in other ways, but it's my biggest gripe about Daggerheart is every single class and every single skill is just like its own thing you have to read through to see how it works, and it doesn't seem too consistent.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of mini games mixed together, which so does DC-20 way, but he blends it in a little more of a cohesive mix, I think.
Right. It's like,
at least
each mini game is going to be kind of work the same way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade at Daggerheart or anything. I'm just saying that's how it feels because Daggerheart's
I still like it.
yeah, I still like it because it's like I got these cards and I roll these dice and 2 dice every time and it feels a little.
But I need
like
this to play it is the problem.
Yeah, and you have to have some kind of tracking system. Yeah,
yeah.
So, but yeah. So I mean, when I was younger, I liked rules heavy more because I had more time. I guess I don't know, but now I don't. I really just like character customization a lot, which a lot of rules heavy games have. But they've gotten better and better, even with light games where you can do almost anything, even in a light game. So you just may not have as much of a granular, detailed, levels between on a spectrum of like how good you're at something or whatever.
Yeah, I think I would also make the distinction. Rules Lite is probably better if you're gonna do theater of the mind for everything. I think Rules Lite is king then. It's just so much better at that than other stuff. If you actually want to have minis or a virtual tabletop, even then I try not to overuse virtual tabletops. I use them in a more simplistic way, but then I think the rules heavy can be more fun because what's the point of having a bunch of rules if you're not going to be able to use them, right? Like that's if you don't have positioning and stuff in terms of combat or doing certain tasks and stuff, rules heavy kind of is like why? Whereas if you're all theater of the mind, just stay theater of the mind. That's a rules light system kind of inherently, I think. But I'm sure people will disagree with me. If you want to comment on how you disagree with me, you should totally go to it. And I will look at each comment and reply to it even. So
let us know where you fall into this spectrum or what game system version, that you think is rules light or heavy and why you think it works well. Just let us know.
Yeah, if you made it to this part of the video, tell us if you think Daggerheart's rule heavy or light, Call Cthulhu's heavy or light, and what's another contentious one that people have played? Fate. Let's say, do you think Fate is heavy or light? Because that has a lot of skills in it, actually, right?
It can, yeah. So, it's funny, PBTA, or Powered by Apocalypse, there is a game, I've not played it, I did read it. I almost thought about us trying it out in Genre Play a long time ago. But we played Call of Cthulhu instead, Down Darker Trails. It's called Cowboy World, and it's actually like PBTA, but has skills. And I mean, there's a limited number of skills under each stat, but I'd be kind of curious if you're like, this is great. Now I love Powered by Apocalypse. No, just kidding.
There's the best system now.
The best ever.
No, but ultimately, I think I like rules heavy because of skills, but also because of actual positioning and I think
tactical
I
combat.
like the fighting in it more and more. Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. But I feel like rules light, if I don't make a million minis and maps and stuff, I'm okay.
I mean, that's not a problem for me. Right. Though it's funny is I actually play in my dining room on the literally opposite side of the house. And so when combat starts, I'm like, wait a minute. And I run over to my room over here and try to find like all the minis. And then I have like a handful trying to run back to the dining room table.
All right. Well, I think we discussed this topic enough now. So let us know what you think in the comments. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, so you're alerted whenever we do more of these. So thanks, everybody. Now go fix your game.
Ooh, you suck. When the dice roll high, we touch the sky. But when they crash, it's a belly laugh. Genre play, lighting the way. Our tales unleash the wild ram.